This is WMNF, and this is a pre-recorded show.
Welcome to True Talk. This is your host, Samar Jarrah. I have an interesting show for you today. Our mainstream media never cover any press conferences related to Gaza or to the crisis of healthcare and healthcare workers in Gaza. There is a genocide that is still going on there. So today I'm going to bring you clips from a press conference that was done virtually to talk about the 1,000 days of genocide that is still going on, as I told you. There is a group, it's a global coalition group called Doctors Against Genocide. It's a coalition of healthcare workers who are dedicated to, as they say, succeed where global governments have failed in confronting and preventing genocide. They talk about war crimes. They try to highlight the health aspect of genocide, which is an insight that we don't get a chance to listen to. So what's going to happen today is I'm going to be playing segments of this press conference. And please bear in mind that the connection with Gaza might not be that perfect. So if you hear a bit of static or there is a bit of silence, it's because of the connection with Gaza. Again, this is a taped global press conference that was put together by this global coalition of health workers called Doctors Against Genocide. If you have any comments, please send them to dj@wmnf.org. dj@wmnf.org.
Good morning and good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Maysa, and I'm one of the co-founders of Doctors Against Genocide. It is my absolute honor to moderate today's press conference. As always, we center the voices of our people in Palestine. Today marks a threshold humanity should never have crossed. 1,000 days of genocide and siege in Gaza, and over 100 years of dispossession before that for the Palestinian people. 1,000 days witnessed in real time by the entire world. No one can claim they did not know. The evidence has been documented, independently verified, and broadcast in real time for 1,000 days. This is not a failure of information. It is a failure of political will. The United Nations Independent International Commission of Inquiry has now concluded that some of the gravest international crimes have been committed, including findings relating to genocidal acts against Palestinian children. The question before the world is no longer what is happening. The question is why governments continue to tolerate it. So we will not stand here and explain the crisis again to a world that has already seen and a world that already knows. We will name what this silence has built, a world we do not want to leave to our children, a world where water is cut off from the thirsty, where hospitals go dark, where starvation is used as a weapon, where a child's death is met with a statement or a shrug. Let me tell you what 1,000 days means on the ground. All of Gaza is unsafe. When someone is wounded, first responders cannot get or reach them. And when they finally can, they cannot treat them. And when the dead are recovered, they can no longer be identified. Most often, it is because the entire family is lying together beneath the rubble. The world does not need more evidence. It needs governments willing to enforce the law they helped write. Here's how today will run. You will hear from representatives across every vital sector in Palestine. Each will speak for roughly 3 minutes, sharing the status of their sector on the ground and the demands that follow from it. We will hold questions for Q&A at the end. To the media present, thank you for being here and thank you for carrying this forward. One note before we begin, connectivity in Gaza is unpredictable, itself another act of siege and genocide. If a speaker drops, please bear with us. We will hold and we will bring them back. So we will begin with a physician who has spent decades caring for his people while bearing witness to their suffering, Dr. Mustafa Barghouti, co-founder and president of the Palestinian Medical Relief Society, a physician and one of Palestine's most enduring and brave voices, joining us from the West Bank to set out the political reality across all of Palestine. Dr. Barghouti, the floor is yours. Tfaddal.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm glad we have all our colleagues from Gaza here participating with us. After 1,000 days of genocide, I want to emphasize that the genocide is still going on. Since the ceasefire was declared, Israel violated it without any response from the Palestinian side 3,500 times. They already killed 1,060 more people, mostly civilians, mostly children and women. They all injured 3,400 more people. The devastation is beyond description. As you will hear, 90% of Gaza is destroyed. The total number of people killed or injured so far is 250,000. That is 12.5% of the population. Apply that number to the United States of America, and you will be talking about no less than 36 million people killed or injured. And you can imagine what the United States would have done if 1 million Americans were injured or killed. 223,000 tons of explosives thrown on Gaza. That is equal to 14 nuclear heads, similar to what was used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But also in the West Bank, we are subjected now to constant attacks by settler terrorist groups. 15 attacks every day on different cities and villages. Israel has created already in the West Bank more than 500 settlements and settlement outposts. They've already confiscated or dominated more than 58% of the land. Not only 65% in Gaza, but also 58% in the West Bank. 1,300 military checkpoints, 250 military gates transformed the communities in the West Bank into little prisons. And the killing of civilians, especially children, goes on also in the West Bank. What we see here is a board of peace, but no peace. A board of peace that has no real plan for peace. And the most shocking thing was today declared by the so-called board of peace that they want to eliminate UNRWA presence in Gaza. UNRWA that is serving the 70% of the population who are refugees displaced since 1948. In summary, what we face here is the same settler colonial project that started 120 years ago in Palestine. What we face here is a consistent effort. The Israeli goal never changed since the beginning of the genocide. Consistent effort to repeat 1948 displacement and ethnic cleansing. The main goal is to try to ethnically cleanse the population of Gaza and the population of the West Bank. And they are trying everything, including weaponizing criminal gangs that are collaborating with the Israeli side. The world up till now, after 1,000 days of the genocide, did not hold Israel accountable. And because of that, the crimes continue and the crimes are increasing. And that's why the outcry here to the whole world, and I hope journalists will hear that, is where is international law? Where is international humanitarian law? Where are the United Nations institutions? What we face here in Palestine is a challenge to the whole humanity, to every people in this world. But I want to tell you, that will not break us as much as it did not break these heroic people that you see today from Gaza. The people of Gaza has given the whole world a fantastic example of how heroic people can be in defending their rights. We are steadfast and we have hope. We will not leave Gaza. We will not leave West Bank. And I always tell other people what gives me hope is the fact that although we lost maybe almost 22,000 children in Gaza killed by the genocide, the people of Gaza managed, and the health workers in Gaza managed to save the lives of 82,000 newborn children. That gives us hope because these are not only newborn children, these are the sign of the resistance of the Palestinian people. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Barghouti. That reality is, of course, measured first in human bodies. Dr. Ahmed Shatat, Director General of International Cooperation and Planning, joins us today from Gaza to share with us an update on health systems pushed past collapse. Dr. Shatat, thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to start at the point which finishing Dr. Mustafa that we will stay in our Palestine. Let me to start my talk that my father and I am now in Gaza, in Deir al-Balah, but my father and mother was born in Ashkelon, which is far from the Gaza city, 15 kilometers, and located in the occupied territory. After, let me to talk about the situation and healthcare system in Gaza now. After 1,000 days of genocide, the situation is unfortunately still very bad and worse. In spite of the ceasefire is happening, unfortunately, ceasefire, it is only superficial, and the targeting of the people and targeting of the civilian is continuous. Daily we are receiving more than 15 dead bodies and killed, and more than 15 are injured. The situation regarding of the continuous of targeting, siege, and rejection to enter anything inside of Gaza. Unfortunately, Israel, they are transfer of Gaza city to be as the biggest prison for civilian population in the world. The biggest prison that you couldn't enter or exit from this Gaza only with permission. So that regarding of that, the limited number of the patient which need to transfer out Gaza due to unavailability of the service is huge. We are talking more than 20,000 of patients. They are asking for the service which is not available in Gaza. Increasing of the siege, increasing of destruction and availability of the service, lost more of our services, including of our facilities. We lost more than 70% of our bed capacity inside of our hospitals. And you can imagine how we can provide and ensure of the service for our population, so that the number for the population which they are needed for transfer is huge. Unfortunately, the story not stopped here. All of the health determinants is destructed, including of the water, the food, displacement, household in the tents. 70% of population is still in the tents. Between the rates, between the insects, the increasing distribution of the infectious diseases, this is increased the burden of the diseases on our healthcare, which is most of our health facility is destructed. The situation, unfortunately, after ceasefire, it's still worsening due to none allowed to enter of the basic things for the health, like drugs, disposable, generator for electricity. You know that Gaza, until now, we haven't station of electricity. Our hospital dependent of generators. You can imagine in which city in any world that generators, which is dependent the hospital for this electric generator, they didn't find oil for this generator because occupation didn't allow this oil, lubricant oil for generators to enter in Gaza. You can imagine the situation regarding of the basic equipment, medical equipment. Until now, Israel didn't allow enter any of this equipment. We lost more than 17 CT machine, and now we are only providing of this service for 3x3 machine. Until now, most of X-rays machine, unfortunately, Israel, didn't allow to enter any X-ray machine. You can imagine the situation regarding of this situation and in this condition and continuous of Israel that didn't allow to enter anything to rehab or to expand or to restart any service, only most of our service inside of Gaza. Unfortunately, we are providing in the non-permanent structure and by field structure and some of rehabilitated structure inside of it. Still, unfortunately, now our capacity in the healthcare less than 60% in the level primary healthcare and in the level bed capacity. What's meaning that? We have a big challenge to continue providing safe practice and safe health for our population. Why? Because all of the world are witnessed the criminal regarding of the population, civilian population inside of Gaza from the occupation side. So that I think that continuous after 1,000 of genocide, of 1,000 days of genocide, continue this suffering, I think that this is inhumanity and unaccepted in this world. And thank you very much from Gaza and from our population here.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Shatat, for this very important and comprehensive update. But of course, we know that not every wound of this genocide can be seen. Dr. Abdullah Al-Jamal, a psychiatric consultant at the General Directorate of Mental Health Services in the Gaza Strip, joins us to speak to what 1,000 days of unrelenting terror have done to the minds of Gaza's children, a trauma with no post because it has not stopped. Dr. Al-Jamal, tfaddal. Thank you.
Thank you a lot for this meeting. I have to speak about this one in Gaza. Really, prior to the war, we have provided our services through 6 community mental health centers and 1 psychiatric hospital. We used to follow up about 25,000 patients per year in this community mental health centers, and about 700 patients were admitted yearly to the psychiatric hospital. During this war, all these centers has been destroyed completely. Till now, we don't have psychiatric hospitals, so I don't know where these patients need psychiatric inpatient unit, where they go. We started our job in 3 small community mental health centers. In 2025, we follow about 70,000 patients in this community mental health center. So each physician, each psychiatrist here should meet at least 50 patients, 50 cases per day, and this is a huge number to meet as a psychiatrist. Even during this war, my staff also is suffering. Most of them lost at least 1 or 2 or more from their lovers, and even a lot of them lives in tents, and they still struggling to provide support for others. One day I sent a case. She was a female, 32 years old, in severe depression and PTSD signs and symptoms to one of my psychologists. She told me, Dr. Abdullah, do you forget that I lost my son? Why you send me this case that lost her son like me? I can't tolerate. So this is the situation here in Gaza. One time I used to assist with a team more than 6,000 cases of orphan children. More than 1/3 of these orphan children really have signs and symptoms of stress and behavioral changes. They need intervention. They need psychosocial support, but unfortunately, we don't have enough team to deal with. So it is the genocide. We don't know how to deal with this situation. We need a lot of support to help the mental health system in Gaza, especially to establish a psychiatric inpatient unit and to train or to provide some sort of psychological support for these cases, especially it's child cases.
Welcome back to True Talk. You are listening to a recording of a press conference that took place a few days ago, put together by a global coalition of health workers Their name is Doctors Against Genocide, and they are talking to physicians and people who are in Gaza. And this is why sometimes the audio is not very clear. But that's the least we can do to bring the voices of people in Gaza to our airwaves. This is WMNF 88.5 FM.
Good evening. I speak today on behalf of Gaza's municipalities, the institutions responsible for keeping cities alive. 1,000 days, municipalities have continued working under impossible conditions. We are expected to provide clean water, collect solid waste, operate sewage systems, repair roads, respond to emergencies, and support more than 2 million people, while most of the infrastructure required to deliver these services has been destroyed or is no longer functioning. Larger sections of water and wastewater networks have been destroyed. Roads have been severely damaged. Municipal workshops, warehouses, heavy equipment, and maintenance facilities have been hit. Many service vehicles and machinery have been destroyed or are out of service because spare parts are unavailable. Even where infrastructure still exists, municipalities often cannot operate it. Water wells, sewage pumping stations, desalination plants, and solid waste services depend on generators, fuel, pumps, electrical equipment, and mechanical spare parts that are either unavailable or prohibited from entering Gaza. Today, even maintaining a single municipal generator has become nearly impossible. Before the war, 1 liter of engine oil cost around $10. Today, it costs nearly $700 or maybe higher. And the price continues to rise. Because of this, the generators that operate Gaza's water wells are failing one after another. If this continues, tens of thousands of people could lose access to safe water simply because municipalities are denied the basic supplies needed to keep these systems running. Municipal engineers and technicians have the knowledge and experience to restore essential services. What we lack are the materials and equipment necessary to do our jobs. Behind every damaged road and every broken water pipe stands a municipal worker who refused to abandon his duty. 72 employees of Gaza municipality have lost their lives while serving their community during this war. We honor their sacrifice by continuing the work they gave their lives for. We did not stop serving our people, and we will not stop until Gaza's essential services are restored. Today, Gaza's municipalities urgently need heavy machinery and municipal vehicles, generators and pumps, electrical equipment and spare parts. We need pipes, valves, fittings, asphalt, cement, steel, and other construction materials for water and sanitation and roads and public infrastructure. We need fuel and operational supplies to keep essential municipal services functioning. Municipal services are not a luxury. Without functioning municipalities, there is no safe water, no sanitation, no waste collection, no passable roads, and no foundation for humanitarian recovery or public health. Our message to the international community is simple. Allow the immediate and unrestricted entry of construction materials, municipal equipment, machinery, generators, spare parts, and all supplies required to restore essential public services. Supporting municipalities means protecting public health, preserving human dignity, and creating conditions for Gaza's recovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hanoush. As we're hearing, sector after sector, department after department have been attacked systemically, and we honor all our martyred heroes and first responders and healthcare workers. So thank you so much for this update. Of course, when infrastructure fails, emergency responders hold the line, often with their own lives, as we've seen, systemically attacked and killed. Rami Zuhair Amir Hajjo, from the Palestine Red Crescent Society, joins us today to discuss the emergency medical response under fire and how it was able to maintain their excellent support to our communities. Mr. Hajjo, tfaddal.
Thank you, distinguished colleagues. Tomorrow marks 1,000 days since the beginning of the war in Gaza. For many people around the world, this may be simply a number. For us, it represents 1,000 days of continuous emergency response, immense loss, and unwavering commitment to the saving lives under some of the most difficult conditions imaginable. Since the beginning of the war, the Palestine Red Crescent Society has remained on the front lines, providing emergency medical services and humanitarian assistance despite unprecedented challenges. The human cost has been devastating. We lost 56 colleagues, 26 of them whom were killed while carrying out their humanitarian duty. 8 of them were killed in a very blatant, harsh attack in Rafah. In addition, 39 Palestine Red Crescent staff members were detained during the conflict, while most have since been released. 3 remain in detention. Additionally, a total of 27 Palestine Red Crescent facilities have been destroyed or rendered out of service. These facilities include PRCS branches in the northern Gaza, in Rafah City, Al-Quds Hospital in Gaza, Al-Amal and Khan Yunis, as well as 21 primary healthcare clinics all over the Gaza Strip, and 1 central ambulance building that serves all the dispatch units. Over the past 1,000 days, the Palestine Red Crescent Society's facilities served tens of injuries on a daily basis. At the same time, our ambulances and emergency medical teams have responded to thousands who were killed or injured, and more than 200,000 people who at emergencies. We have also evacuated thousands of injured and critically ill patients on a daily basis during the 1,000 days. The greatest challenge was absence of safety and hope. The people of Gaza need far more than humanitarian assistance alone. They need protection, safe access to healthcare, food, clean water, shelter, and opportunity to rebuild their lives with dignity. Our commitment remains unchanged. We will continue doing everything within our capacity to save lives and alleviate the sufferings. Yet, PRCS calls for immediate and urgent action to lift restrictions on critical material required for humanitarian response, ensure the effective protection for medical and relief teams and for the health humanitarian facilities, ensure respect, protection, and support for the vital central role of PRCS in delivering the services without obstacles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Hajjo. Beside them are the first responders. Those are the ones who are digging through rubble with almost nothing left. And on top of that, they're systemically attacked. So we're honored to have Ismail Mattar with us, Director of International Cooperation, to discuss with us the situation of the first responders and civil defense. Mr. Mattar, tfaddal, shukran. Tfaddal.
Hello, everyone. I want to say that it's a true honor to be here with you, with my colleagues in Gaza Strip. And thank you to give a voice for those whose only job is to save lives here in Gaza after 1,000 days of genocidal war. I want to say that this genocidal war, our crews paid a heavy price in these days. So this genocidal war killed 145 of civil defense personnel and injured 347 of them, leaving many of them with permanent disabilities. I want to talk about systematic targeting. As we know in Rafah accident, or when our crews were work there and they were targeted and killed. And there is 90% of our centers on the fields in Gaza were destroyed completely. as we know that aid workers must have full immunity due to international laws, this immunity were killed due to violations of Israeli army. The genocidal war aimed just to collapse the entire humanitarian response system. So this genocidal war doesn't or didn't end until now. There is a lot of bodies under rubble until now, and our crews work on recovering them. As you know, in Gaza, and my colleagues said, there is lack of equipment and tools that helps us to finish our mission, and there is lack and shortage of fuel to generate our vehicles and machines. So our crews were work with bare hands, with no tools and equipment help them. In this war, we received about 200,000 of distress calls, and we just responded for 50% of them due to the challenges we face. I want to mention that 39 of vehicles were completely destroyed, so we can't use them until now, and 45 vehicles of them needs continuous maintenance due to lack of spare parts. And despite all the challenges, our crews refuse to stop, and they complete their mission to save lives and digging through rubble with bare hands, as I mentioned. I want to say that this situation is unsustainable, and protecting aid workers must be an obligation. It's necessary, and it's not a choice. The international community must end this culture of impunity. So those who are responsible of war crimes must be accountable. I want just to call for immediate international intervention to end this blockade and allow the entry of fuel and the equipment to allow us to finish our work. And I want to say finally that we have a project now working for recover all bodies under rubble. It depends on 100 of civil defense men or personnel, and it will continue to 6 months in the future. Just we say that this civil defense in Gaza will continue humanitarian mission against all the challenges, as our colleagues mentioned before. And please help us to end this genocidal war. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, and I couldn't agree more. And it's impossible to listen to all of this and not feel a deep sense of rage and shame from being part of this world community that is doing absolutely nothing. Thank you so much. And as the bombs fall, of course, and you know that hunger is spreading and aid is held at the gates. Iyad Amawi is here from the Gaza Relief Committee, is joining us to talk about the humanitarian access under siege. So wrapping it all up, including starvation, water scarcity, the barriers of relief, the resilience of the communities holding one another, and the hidden plan to expel the people from their land. Iyad, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Allah barik fikum. Distinguished colleagues, I'm speaking to you from Gaza, not as observer, but as a witness. 1,000 days have passed. 1,000 days of killing, brutality, displacement, hunger, repeated evacuations, orders, and systematic destruction of the conditions necessary for human life. Gaza is not only being bombed, as we talked before. Gaza is being made unlivable. Homes, hospitals, schools, universities, water networks, sanitation systems, and sources of livelihood have been devastated. The institutions that once sustained civilian life are being systematically weakened or completely destroyed. For more than 2 million people here in Gaza, humanitarian access have been reduced to a single, solely, severely restricted gateway, where humanitarian missions are repeatedly delayed or denied or obstructed completely, including those carrying medical teams, medical missions, water and life-saving supplies. More than 3,000 children remain missing under the rubble or jailed, and beyond those missing, entire generations are being lost. Trauma, displacement, interrupted. So when we talk, we mentioned about the restrictions of aid, starvation as a weapon under the siege, and also forced expulsion. Today, civilians are being pushed into an increasingly shrinking space to roughly 30% of whole of the Gaza space. At the same time, the language surrounding displacement is changing completely. Terms such as freedom of movement can't hide the reality. Now that when people are deprived of food, water, healthcare, safety, and livelihoods, departure is not a free choice. It's expulsion process under siege. The weakening of institutions such UNRWA adds another alarming situation and dimension. Beyond the humanitarian assistance, these institutions preserve our roots and our historical memories, legal continuity, and the identity of the generations of the Palestinian refugees. What we are witnessing, therefore, is not only the destruction of infrastructure, it's an assault on the foundations of life, society, and historical continuity itself. Yet Gaza continues to resist through humanity. Families share the little what they have. So the message is simple. Open all the crossings, implement the ceasefire, not selective firing, implement the ceasefire completely with the guarantees unrestricted humanitarian access, ensuring the sustained entry of food, water, medicines, and everything for resuming our normal life. Protect civilians, humanitarian workers, and the institutions that serve them. Also reject any policy or practice that leads to the forced displacement of Palestinians or the erosion of their historical and humanitarian institutions. After 1,000 days, history will judge not only what happened in Gaza, but also what the world chose to protect and what it allowed to disappear. Thank you again for hosting me and hosting my colleagues, and keep going. We need your support to stop this brutality and genocide. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayad. Finally, among our sector voices, a witness from outside of Palestine who has seen with his own eyes the brutality and the crimes. Dr. Nick Maynard, consultant surgeon at Oxford University Hospital, has operated inside Gaza's hospitals and is going to be speaking to us about his eyewitness accounts. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Maynard.
Thank you very much indeed. It is, for me, profoundly humbling speaking on this platform with so many heroic and inspirational Palestinians. So thank you for asking me. It has been one of the great privileges of my life to work with my Gazan colleagues in Al-Aqsa and Nasser hospitals on several trips to Gaza over the last 1,000 days, on a background of many years of visiting Gaza, over 17 years. I have witnessed with my own eyes war crimes on a daily basis, a genocide being carried out by Israel, and this has not been reported by our Western media. And I have spent as much time as possible providing my eyewitness accounts to everyone back here so they know what is truly going on in Gaza. I have witnessed with my own eyes the deliberate targeting of civilians in Gaza. We have described in the British Medical Journal a pattern of injuries never previously seen in civilian populations, a pattern of injuries only previously described in war combatants. We know that more than 20,000 children have been killed, more than 40,000 orphaned. An average of 30 children per day have been killed in Gaza, 30 children per day over 1,000 days. The equivalent number in Ukraine is 0.7. I have seen with my own eyes the deliberate targeting of hospitals, the killing of nearly 2,000 healthcare workers, the abduction, illegal detention, torturing and killing of 450 healthcare workers. I have personally operated on many children at my last trip at Nasser Medical Complex, on children shot deliberately by Israeli soldiers at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation food distribution sites. I have witnessed with my colleagues there the targeting of particular body parts on particular days. I have seen also the appalling effects of malnutrition, how children have been unable to recover from their injuries and their surgery because of their malnutrition, how they have died unnecessarily because we had no nutritional support to give them. I've seen the absence of formula feed, babies dying of starvation because the Israeli blockade would not allow the formula feed to come in. These are preventable deaths. They are due to the deliberate blockade by Israeli. I have presented this evidence on multiple occasions to the UK government, to our Prime Minister, to cabinet ministers, to the US Biden administration. They have not acted, and they have been complicit in this genocide. My message today is that our governments must act now to protect civilians and to end preventable deaths. The UK government must stop their reconnaissance flights over Gaza, their provision of arms to the Israeli government, trade. They must impose sanctions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this powerful testimony, and we appreciate you being with us today. You know, in the DAG world, we never stick to the hour, so we appreciate that everybody's been here with us, and we of course are so grateful for all the voices from Gaza. You have all provided us with such important and powerful testimony, and most importantly, the demands from the international community that we will honor and we will push forward, and that's a promise to all of you from us at DAG. So for this next part, we're going to move to Q&A, and please stay with us. We will probably spend probably another 30 minutes doing Q&A, and then we will close with the other co-founders, Karama and Nidal, and we will close this press conference. So the first question is from Samira Muhyiddin from On the Line Media. Her question to Dr. Shatat: what communicable diseases or illnesses are they seeing the most of right now in Gaza? Dr. Shatat, please, if you can answer this question.
Yes, thank you very much again. I think that, regarding of the related of the infected wood and water and food, most now we are facing with most of the disease distributed of gastroenteritis, including of the blood diarrhea and high fever. This is related of suspected of bacterial infections, and also cases due to hepatitis, viral hepatitis A. It is increased. Regarding of skin disease in Batago now, it is increasing. And also, let me to inform the prevalence, the incidence of scabies is increased among the population due to lack of water, lack of personal hygiene, the environment of the tents, and the hot weather. I think that this is most of the skin of diseases, and also now distributed some of viruses like food and hand disease among of children's. Regarding of the rates, and you know that under rubble now it is multiplying many thousands of rates, big rates and small rates, and you can imagine the situation. All of the tents now, this is the rates living with the population like part of this family, unfortunately, and you can imagine the situation and which diseases are transmitted. We treated many cases, 100 cases from rat bites. I think that this is the most of the distributed disease. Yeah.
Just one phrase from my side. Actually, the most important one, which is due to the decrease in the vaccination coverage, it was in Gaza 96%. Now it's less than 80%. And unfortunately, we start to discover some poliomyelitis cases during this genocide. Fortunately, there was an urgent campaign to contain this infection, but we don't know, because of the lacking of the vaccination coverage, maybe we can discover more cases. But poliomyelitis was, again, one of the most important communicable diseases, plus the waterborne diseases and the other diseases which was mentioned by Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you very much. This next question is about what are the medical devices lacking that require and requiring medical evacuations. So maybe Dr. Shatat as well, or
Okay, again, you mean of evacuation of the patient out of Gaza, yeah?
That's correct.
Yeah, you know that unfortunately, most of the devices related of advanced surgery, it is not available. Let me inform also as example, any breast cancer woman, this is woman need for final diagnosis, some of radiological investigation, some of receptor for histopathology, it is not available. So that we, unfortunately, our surgeon decided to select radical surgery in any case of cancer, breast cancer. Before the war, we didn't like this approach, and we went to, according to Palestinian protocol, with the minimal surgery. But unlucky our woman now, due to lack of the investigation, we are going for radical mastectomy or radical surgery. You can imagine of that. So that, what about radiotherapy? What about more diagnosis, MRI? What about availability of drugs? It is not available, so that the number is increased. For example, about catheterization for our young person, we have only limited access for catheterization. We only did 500 catheterization last year out of 6,000 which we need. You can imagine about, this is example about availability of the resources for the service, so that the number of the patients which they are needed for go out of Gaza seeking for the service out of Gaza is increased. Now it is reaching more about 20,000 patients they are waiting. And you heard about last year, WHO announced that more than 1,500 of these patients are died during they are waiting to travel. Now, which number are traveling is through the border, through Rafah border? It is very limited, daily, not daily, day by day. Day by day, it is day after day, less than 20 only patients are able to transfer. And some days, unfortunately, they couldn't pass through this border. So that you can imagine the number is very limited, unfortunately, and our patient is increasing suffering, and they are waiting their fate, or they are waiting to die peacefully inside of Gaza.
Dr. Ahmed, just to mention, in the MRI, previously we were holding 7 MRI machines. Now we have even no 1 MRI machine, 0 MRI machine in Gaza Strip. Out of the cardiac catheterization machine, we were handling 7. Now we are just working in 1 old machine and 1 old machine for the cardiac catheterization.
And with non-availability of a stent for catheterization, unfortunately.
It's compounded harm for sure. So there's a question from Samira actually that I just saw. Is there any work underway to do a full population count of Gaza right now? Maybe this question is for Rula, and if anybody else wants to jump in, maybe Dr. Youssef can guide us as well.
What was the question? Sorry.
The question is there any work underway to do a full population count of Gaza right now? I mean, I can imagine with the displacement, it's almost impossible, but maybe there's a plan.
Yeah, we hear that there's an effort to do that, but actually it's so complex. I think the context here in Gaza is not in favor, and it will not make it easy to have such counting the people in this circumstances. So I don't think so. I think it's so important to handle, but it's so complex and difficult to start.
Absolutely. Okay. This next question is from St. Chandler. KPFK's Middle East in Focus. The question is there any or a particular report that DAG recommends concerned citizens in the US share with our elected representatives as we urge them to stop funding the genocide? Of course, we will default to our DAG days on the Hill and where we produce the leave behinds, but I'll ask Nidal and Karama to answer this question as well.
Karama, are you there? So yes, we do prepare monthly reports that we share with our elected officials in DC and locally. Please join our group, join our Sunday meetings, and we have a group dedicated for this called the Advocacy Group to DC. We are happy to share with you on monthly basis or sometimes on weekly basis the current demands that we as doctors, healthcare community demand for our elected officials to put an end to this genocide and to put an end to the United States complicity and full partnership in this genocide. Thank you for the question. Karama?
So the next question is, of course, what adds complexity to medical care is that the healthcare workers themselves suffer deeply. Some of them suffered injuries or been arrested. Some of them lost family members. And of course, almost all of them have been displaced. So how do you manage such a challenge? And this actually reminds me of the work that we're doing with our teams in Gaza and the poem by Mahmoud Darwish. Maybe Dr. Yusuf Abu Rish can share that with us, just the principle of resilience and how does it work in the midst of this genocide.
Sometimes you have no other choices actually about of being so to do so hard and to continue working even if the situation is so difficult and so complex. Actually, this is our land and those are our people and we have to do our best and we have no other choices. So it's like that. It's simple, like yeah.
What was that poem? It's you have no. You don't have the luxury.
Even if you're being so fragile, you have no opportunity or the choice to wind down, even because there's others who are depending on you.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah.
You don't have the luxury to be weak because there are so many others who are leaning on you standing up. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
On this earth, what is worth living?
Yes, on this earth is something worth living, of course. Of course.
I think this has become a little questionable now.
Yeah, I use the words of our colleague who were killed, Dr. Hammam Illah. He was asked that question and why you didn't decide to leave. He said that I'm not learning medicine for more than 15 years just to lift our patients alone and to lift them behind. This is my mission, and that's why I learned medicine.
Palestinians are human beings, they are patient, they deserve the right to care and to health care. And I did not go to school for 14 or 15 years to leave my patients alone. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Allah yarhamak, Dr.
Allah yarhamak, and he was killed not alone. He with a dozen of people in the same occasion.
في مقولة لمحمود درويش: إذا إن سألوك عن غزة فقل لهم بها شهيد يسعفه شهيد ويصوره شهيد ويودعه شهيد ويصلي عليه شهيد. ترجموها من عندكم.
أنا attempt or unless Nidal you want to do that. Mahmoud Darwish.
Let's finish with the question because actually we need to do a couple of more things, please.
Okay,
if
no
you
problem.
mind, we'll come back to this. Why do you have two screens, Maisa? Why you're special?
Because my laptop is about to die and I didn't want to everybody off. Not because I'm special. Okay, so there is a question about the rodents. Saw a photo of a child's face that clearly had signs of cellulitis, cellulitis and rat bites.
Cellulitis.
Can somebody speak in an insect situation?
Yeah. I think that this I can answer. Yeah. I think that this is related of the situation, nutritional situation of the population. You can hear me?
We could hear you, not anymore.
I hope you enjoyed today's